ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Tuesday, October 21st. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. We've got football to talk about today. I know we've got a week or so to go until Marshall's back at it against Coastal Carolina, but we've got comments today from Tony Gibson as we look back a little bit more to the win over Texas State and then look ahead just a little bit to Coastal Carolina. Also, we've got comments today from Marshall basketball coach Cornelius Jackson. Hear from Wyatt Fricks a little bit as well, because Marshall's got exhibition basketball tonight. Thundering Herd taking on Alice Lloyd. That is going to be 7 o'clock at the Henderson Center. So it's going to be your first look at the Thundering Herd in game action. Admission is free. So if you're looking for something to do on a Tuesday night, you've got an opportunity to go see the Herd take on Alice Lloyd. I'm going to be interested to see Matt Van Komen a little bit more. I'm curious to see, how he really stacks up. So this will be a opportunity for first look, really, for a lot of new faces for the Thundering Herd. So that's exciting tonight. And of course, we have got the text line. It is open now, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll get to that here in a few minutes. Of course, with Marshall basketball being picked 6th in the Sun Belt Conference this year, you've got some potential here. I think 6 is fair with all the unknowns that go into this. And of course, Jalen Spear, properly rated. Preseason all-conference first team, properly rated. But how high can we see Matt Van Komen go? He was picked 3rd team. And from all indications, that might be undervaluing him. Of course, we got a season to get to, and that's going to be a long journey for this team. But I'm thinking Spear, properly rated, properly valued. Matt Van Komen, that might be the surprise for a lot of people in the upcoming season. And, of course, we talked about this yesterday. Meredith Mayer, 3rd team preseason all-conference pick. I think she's better than 3rd team. She definitely has shown a lot of improvement, and I'm excited for the women's side of things as well. But we've got basketball, of course, tonight with the men. And, of course, we also finally have a World Series. How about this? I was completely wrong. I thought Seattle would win Game 7. Turns out Toronto proved me wrong. Toronto gets the win over Seattle 4-3. So we have got a Dodgers-Blue Jays final. So that's your World Series. And that's going to draw a lot of interest, more so probably from the West Coast. Again, though, the Dodgers are just that. They're good. They're the Dodgers. And then you got the Blue Jays. Yeah, I don't know how much crossover appeal the Blue Jays really have. I mean, all of Canada will probably be behind the Blue Jays. All of California, for the most part, will be behind the Dodgers, and everybody else is going to fall in the middle of that. I will probably pull for the Dodgers. It feels wrong to pull for the Dodgers. I'm going way back now when the Dodgers and the Reds were divisional opponents. So I still have a little animosity towards the Dodgers. I have animosity towards the Braves as well. We go back in the Wayback Machine here. And I just completely – there are teams that I don't care for. Houston's one of them. Absolutely. The teams that the Reds saw a lot back in the day, I don't care for. And that includes the Astros. That includes the Dodgers. That includes the Braves. Just throw them all in there. Actually, I probably just don't like most teams, period. After all, I am a Bengals fan, so I don't like any other team in the NFL. None. I will pick a team for rooting interest in the Super Bowl, and I will watch a game for an entertainment value, but absolutely one team, and that is it when it comes to football. I'm a little bit more lenient in baseball, but the Pirates and the Reds pretty much are those two teams. And that's kind of crazy, right? Like, how can you be a Pirates? I mean, you support the Pirates. You're a Reds fan, but you kind of have some empathy towards the Pirates. I know. Corporate partnerships, they make strange bedfellows. So we'll get your text in just a few minutes. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We're going to hear from Tony Gibson in a few minutes. Of course, the opponent this week is going to be Coastal Carolina. I mean, next week, technically. Marshall's got the off day, Saturday, and then turning right around and going at it on Thursday next week. So the next opponent is Coastal Carolina. So that means we've got a change in schedule. There's going to be a change in the coaches show. Since there's exhibition basketball tonight, the coaches show is going to change from tonight to Thursday. And so we're going to have the basketball show at 6 and then the football show at 7. So that's the change tonight. So if you tune in looking for the coaches show tonight, it is moving to Thursday. And we'll have both basketball and we'll have football coming up Thursday night right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So when we continue, let's go to break early so we can get into Coach Gibson. And we got a lot from him today. So we're going to hear his thoughts on the win. We're also going to hear his thoughts on how things have sort of improved as far as where they're at right now, but where he's still disappointed. Very candid today, how he feels about the team right now. So, obviously, this team could be in a better spot. It's not. But I still will take a 4-3 Marshall team with lessons learned. Absolutely. Not at any point right now am I concerned. 4-3, lessons learned. I'm going to take that team right now and feel good about it. Because at the end of the year, if Marshall's the East Division champion and has a shot of defending its championship, I'm going to feel real good about the situation, especially the hand that was handed to the new coach. Here you go. You got to start from scratch. And if Marshall can make its way to the East Division championship and play for the Sun Belt title, I'm going to feel real good. And that starts with 4-3 with lessons learned. So we'll hear from Coach Gibson when we continue. And we got a couple of texts coming in, so we're going to get to those also on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's time to get in the game with your hometown Chevy's Drive to Victory sales event. Our MVP is the Hometown Advantage. That's a 10-year, 150,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on all new and most pre-owned inventory. And don't forget about the Dynamic Duo. Interest rates as low as 2.9% and up to 90 days before your first payment's due. So come see us in Waverly or visit us online at yourhometownchevy.com to start your drive to victory today.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, John Garden, 304-525-1116. And in Barbersville, Marcia Slater, 304-736-6100.
Looking for midweek fun? Head to Frank's Place, where every night's a party. Wednesdays are full of brains and brews with trivia night. Grab your crew and show off what you know. Thursdays, crank it up with Singo Bingo. Music meets bingo for prizes and laughs. Then Fridays, we hand you the mic for karaoke night. Sing your heart out and start your weekend right. The fun never stops at Frank's Place. Great drinks, great friends, and good times. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Our Kendrick Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Best Deal Equipment, the best deal on farm and industrial equipment. On-the-spot financing, visit 5000 Ripley Road, Cottageville, West Virginia. Black Sheep Harley-Davidson, where legends are built. Your dream starts at Black Sheep Harley-Davidson, 403 4th Street in Huntington. Online at blacksheephd.com. And Secure Construction Company, roofing, windows, siding, doors, kitchens, and more. Visit secureconstruction.com.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue with this Tuesday edition of Your Drive. Paul Swann, your host, here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We're going to hear from Coach Gibson in just a minute. Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, Paul, there is no way as a Reds fan you pull for the Dodgers. Blue Jays all the way. You got to go underdog or whoever is playing the Dodgers. I appreciate the text. So do I go for the team from Canada over the team from the United States? I mean, that kind of feels wrong to me just a little bit. Again, it's not Olympics time, and trust me, I'm waving the flag during the Olympics. It doesn't matter the sport. I'm USA all the way. I really get into the Olympics probably more so than your average fan. I don't just watch for the spectacle. I mean, I want Team USA to win everything. It can't, but I definitely want it to. But, I mean, do I take the Dodgers because that's the National League? Or the Blue Jays, that's the American League team? Do I take the Dodgers because it's the USA? Do we want Canada to have the World Series? I mean, what do we want here? That's the dilemma. Or I'm just going to be a Reds fan and not root for the Dodgers because I'm a Reds fan and it's the Dodgers. End of story. Let's go Blue Jays. Bill Cornwell, our Hall of Fame news director, walked by me today and said, go Blue Jays. So he's feeling it right now. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So, had a chance to head over to the Shoey earlier, catch up with the head coach, Tony Gibson, kind of get his thoughts on what he thinks Coastal Carolina is going to look like. And first of all, let's try to put this win against Texas State to bed. We start with Coach's opening statement. And again, all week, since the postgame on Saturday, he's sort of been apologizing for some bad calls. At the end of the day, Marshall won the game. No apology needed. Lessons learned. You won the game. So here's Coach, opening statement to kick us off.
After watching the film Saturday, I mean, it was a gutsy performance from our guys. I mean, they just kept battling. A lot of times in that game, it felt like we were out of it, and they just kept finding ways. So, going back watching, pleased with the effort. Still have some technique stuff to clean up, scheme stuff to clean up on both sides of the ball. And then obviously, Lorcan was huge in that game, counting for 14 points. Probably should have, again, had another 3 points in there. I made a dumb decision, but the boys had my back, and we got the win. So now it's time to move on. We got a good Coastal team. They've switched quarterbacks, and they're playing really well right now. So, we're going to have our work cut out for us, and, gave the kids a couple days off the field, and we're getting rolling tomorrow. So we'll be ready to go.
Now, that question was asked a little bit later on in the press as far as how do you balance this? You've got the time off. Technically, you've got the time off. There's no game on Saturday. So you got to get ready for the Thursday game the following week. And you came off the bye last time, and you won against Old Dominion, and you won against Texas State. So you've got things done. So how are you balancing the momentum was really the question that was asked, and the time off. And as Coach pointed out, we gave him some time off, but we're really not giving him time off in certain respects. I think is the best way to describe it.
There is, and, we're not completely off. Like, we're meeting, we're doing things. The kids, we practice the young guys today, developmental guys, and I'm saying young guys. Really, we practice everybody except the starters on both sides of the ball. So a lot of guys that played Saturday practice today, and then tomorrow, again, we'll get cranking. So it's not been, it's not like we're giving them a week off. We gave them a couple of days just off their feet, but we've had meetings. We have meetings on Monday, meetings today, and then tomorrow we'll really get rolling on Coastal.
So they're not exactly off. They're still focused on Coastal. So there's no, hey, let's just go hang out. Because when I go to the Shoey, I saw the guys coming back. So we get them usually after their morning practice when we head over to the Shoey for our availability. And, there were guys there. They weren't doing anything other than what you expect a football team to be doing, and that's practicing, getting ready for the next opponent. Now, one thing that was asked of Coach, now that you've got this 2-game winning streak going, right? You got this winning streak going. You come back, and after the bye week, you come back, and you feel a lot better about where you're at. Bye week, come back, 2 straight wins, right? And you got to be feeling good about yourself. Now, at this point, the challenges for these guys is to maybe hang on to that momentum a little bit. And with this balancing of the time off and getting them ready, I think one thing is certain. Having that one possession win, I think really put this team in the right spot because it faced a lot of adversity against Texas State. And so Coach talked about, what's that like? You have that adversity. You have a one-possession win, and how important was that for the team?
Yeah, it's really good right now, but during it, it's miserable. So I like the way we beat ODU. Those are fun ones for a coach. But, no, it's good. I mean, we're tested. We're road tested. We've been 2 overtime games. We've had big wins. We've had close wins. So, our kids are in a groove right now, and we just have to keep it rolling. We have to keep preparing the right way. We have to keep doing things the right way on and off the field, taking care of our bodies, getting rest, all the things that you need to do to be a good football player. And our kids are bought into what we're doing, that they believe right now. And, this 5-game stretch is crucial right here to our program, determine, what we're playing for. And right now the guys are excited, and we're playing a good football team. Since they made this change at quarterback, they've won 2 in a row, and looked really good last week at App.
And that's something you're going to hear some of that all this week. But from the players today, a couple of things that we did hear from them is we're not taking Coastal lightly because Coastal won at Appalachian State. And some of the veterans know it's very hard to go into Appalachian State and win. You don't just go in the Boone and win on the regular. And so that caught probably a lot of the veterans' attention. And they're relaying that to the newer guys, the ones that haven't been a round 4 Marshall App State. So you see that App State got beat at home against Coastal Carolina, your next opponent. I mean, that's really got some people's attention over at the Shoey right now. And this quarterback change, MJ Morris was the quarterback against Coastal. And I asked Coach, just what's the difference? Is there a fundamental change? Is there better execution? What is it about the quarterback change that has really helped Coastal kind of find its way?
I just think that probably a lot like us, when he went in and they got the win, their team rallied behind him, got some confidence. He's different than the other quarterbacks that they have. He's a runner. He's a big kid, and he's got a nice arm. The first game he played in, I mean, they were in a monsoon, so you really couldn't tell. And they weren't even trying to throw the ball. And then last week against App, he made some really good throws. So he's a dual threat guy. And Coach Beck and I go way back. We were together at NC State. He's going to have some stuff for us, and, this familiarity with both sides of this thing. It's going to be a chess match for sure. And we just have to be smart, and I'm sure they're telling their guys the same thing. But I think it's going to be a heck of a football game.
Yeah, there's a lot of familiarity. Tim Beck was the offensive coordinator at NC State from 2020 to 22, and that came up a little bit later on. It's how do you change things up? What are you doing? Because they know what you're doing, you know what they're doing. There's that familiarity. You probably speak the same language. So Coach talked about that a little bit more in detail, about just changing things up because you have that similar working language with that familiarity between Coach Gibson and Coach Beck.
Yeah, and both sides of this, they know some of our calls. We know some of their calls, so I'm sure they're going to change. We're going to change. We're not going to go in and do things that they're going to expect us to do or say or whatever it may be. And so we have to protect ourselves against that. And I'm sure they're going to do the exact same thing on their end of it.
Tim Beck, Tony Gibson, a lot of familiarity there. I think that we're going to see some wrinkles that maybe we're not used to, both sides. So interested to see what those installs look like. And, of course, the Herd's got a little bit more time to get those installs in, especially in a situation like this with the familiarity and with Coastal kind of building some momentum as well. Our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says in comment to our dilemma, you root for the Dodgers or the Blue Jays? Texter says, yes, Paul, root for the Toronto Blue Jays. The LA Dodgers are barely a U.S. team. All right. I appreciate the text. Is that West Coast thing? What is it? What is it there? Toronto's a little bit closer to Huntington than the Dodgers are, right? I mean, I know one guy in Barbersville. He's a huge Dodgers fan. It's almost as if L.A. and Barbersville are like next door to each other, as much as that one guy I know is always going out there. He's a famous guy. I'll leave it at that. But, no, I think I'm going to have to take Toronto. Maybe I'm taking the Blue Jays here. Going to hear "Oh Canada." You can't go wrong with "Oh Canada." It's a really great anthem, right? Or do we don't even care? It's just whomever is playing the Dodgers is where we go. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
What if someone could tell you what pest control issues you are most likely to have at your house in the next couple of months? Basically, someone that has like a bug or rodent psychic. Wouldn't you want that same person to handle your pest control services now? That's what Patrick, Becca, and the whole team at K&B Pest Control can do. They can predict the future And better yet, prevent it from happening at your house. Call them now. 304-523-4281. K&B Pest Control. They'll kill for your business.
Join Jose Andreas and Marshall University President Brad B. Smith Wednesday, October the 29th at the Joan C. Edwards Playhouse for a thought-provoking conversation with a celebrity chef, author, and internationally recognized humanitarian and co-creator of World Central Kitchen. For tickets, call Marshall Artist Series at 304-696-6656 or Ticketmaster.com. This event proudly sponsored by Kendra Communications.
As the weather cools, bugs may disappear from your windshield, but fall brings plenty of new challenges. Leaves, dirt, and dust, they can pile up on your car, while allergens and debris sneak inside, making your ride less fresh. Don't let fall get the best of your car. Stop by Thoroughbred Express this month for our seasonal specials. We'll wash away the leaves, dirt, and dust inside and out, keeping your car clean, allergy-free, and ready for the season ahead. Join the winter circle with Thoroughbred Express. Head to thoroughbredexpress.com for all the details.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. AMDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. AMDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with this edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, Paul, the Dodgers are a big market team. They win enough. Laughing emoji. Coming from a small market Pirates fan. Right. So we're not rooting. I guess we're not rooting for the Dodgers in this endeavor right now. Is that what I'm feeling? Is that what I'm getting right now from everyone? We're not rooting for the Dodgers. Go Blue Jays. And of course, I'm a Reds fan, so it really doesn't feel right to root for the Dodgers in anything. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Texter wants to know, is anyone broadcasting this game tonight? I don't think the exhibition game is going to be on any of the platforms. I mean, it's a fans first game. It's free admission. So for those local, you don't have to worry if you want to go to the game, and you don't have tickets, you can get in there. But I think this being an exhibition game, Steve Cotton's not doing the game tonight, so we're not doing the game tonight. I can't speak for the student radio station, and it's not going to be on ESPN Plus. But typically, you don't see too many exhibition games broadcast anyway, and I think this is just going to be one of those more, hey, show up, hey, come on out, come support the team. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I know that's kind of not the answer some of you want to hear. Should they broadcast exhibition games? I mean, it's exhibition after all. I mean, I know some places do it, some places don't. I mean, I've watched exhibition football. I've watched exhibition NFL. Yeah, I've watched exhibition game. NHL, I've watched exhibition games. NBA, I've watched exhibition games. And I don't know if there's much push for it. And honestly, no disrespect, but it's Alice Lloyd tonight. This should be a quick, easy win for the Herd. But at the same token, not everybody can get out to see the Herd tonight, so I get it. Texture says, Paul, being a lifetime Reds fan, I can never bring myself to cheer for the Dodgers unless it was against the Yankees. I hate them both. Go Blue Jays. All right. Appreciate that. I'm not going to lie. I think I like the Mets. I'm probably pulling for the Mets more than I would pull for the Yankees. I'm not into the Jets. I'm not into the Giants, not really. I'm not into the Mets. I mean, my hockey team and my basketball team come from New York. I'm waiting for LeBron to retire before I can consider, going back and being a Lakers fan. But when it comes to baseball, I'm pretty rock solid there. Reds are number one for me. And so that means I don't like the Braves. I've never liked the Braves. I've never rooted for the Braves. I was never indoctrinated into the Braves when it was the only game you could watch nationally because Ted Turner threw up all those games on TBS, the Superstation, when we only had 12 channels. Kids, trust me, it was the dark days of life. We only had 12 channels. And the Braves were on one of them. So, there are a lot of Braves fans around here, and I look at them, and, the one thing that was great about the Braves and the Reds in the 90s, both teams only won one World Series, I believe, if I did the math right there. So that's the great thing about being a Braves fan and a Reds fan. Both teams can claim one World Series championship. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 is our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Texture says, it's un-American to root for a team from Canada or another country, LOL. See, that's what I was thinking. I appreciate that text. I mean, am I doing my country a disservice rooting for the Toronto Blue Jays? I mean, come on. am I doing my country a disservice? And of course, this is a slippery slope for me because I was a Edmonton Oilers fan back in the day. Then Gretzky got traded away in the deal of a century there, and I became a Kings fan, and then I became a Blues fan, and then I became a Rangers fan. But all my favorite Oilers at that point were heading over to New York, so that's a slippery slope for me. But still, no, I get the point. It's un-American for Americans to root for a team from Canada or another country. So, which is it? Are you a Reds fan and you root against the Dodgers? Or are you American and you root against Toronto? That's where I'm at right now. What's the dilemma here? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. All right, let's get some more text in. Before we jump back into the text line, we've got Marshall basketball tonight taking on Alice Lloyd, the Eagles. I did some research. I think they have like an enrollment under 600. It's a neat little private college in Kentucky. It's pretty cool, actually. I looked at it and I'm like, okay. I mean, that'd be a neat little place to go to school. And the Eagles come in to Huntington tonight in exhibition play here. So, not to focus on the game, let's focus on the coach. Second season now. Cornelius Jackson getting underway with this one tonight. And I asked him when I had a chance to talk to him, because he talked about how the team is, what they're doing, how they're preparing, how they're improving the team, what they're trying to focus on. And I asked him, how have you prepared? How have you improved as a coach? And he gave me a pretty long answer as far as what he's been doing to get better.
Well, you know what? It's one of those things, Paul, where again, I feel if you're not learning, if you're not trying to learn, if you're not trying to grow, like I said earlier, go sit off on the sunset. But I worked on, offensive stuff, defensive stuff, studied different teams, studied some NBA teams as well as some college teams. I had our video guy at the time pull up a lot of film, so I watched a lot of film. A couple Division II teams, they're averaging 109 points. Now, are we going to average 109? I don't know. You ask Wyatt. But I studied those teams and studied winning teams. I'm kind of a geek like that, right? I'll study a baseball program if it's successful. I studied a few years ago. I studied Bill Belichick when he was with New England. So again, it's just a lot of studying, a lot of learning, a lot of growing. I was happy with the way we finished last year. Again, everybody, got kind of worried at the beginning of the season. But when you add 8-9 new faces and you're trying to teach them different things, right? Because we had several guys, the twins, they came from Grace Christian. And they had been at that school for 5 years. So now you untangling everything and they had success. But our system is different, no different than this team. We have 8-9 new guys from all different places. So the summer is really important to us, and you have to untangle. And Wyatt, who's been here 5 years, he has to help those guys understand our culture and how we do things at Marshall. And it's something as simple as a ball screen. We teach our bigs to run out of ball screens. Well, their whole lives they've been they've been taught to open up. The average fan may not see that, right? The average person may not see that. So it's something as simple as that. You're talking about a Matt Van Komen who is 25 years old. So for 20 years he's been taught to open up. Well, he gets to Marshall, and in 4 months we're saying, hey, we don't play that way. We run out. So it's a process, but this is the fun part, is putting the team together, building team chemistry. It's no different than last year. We want our team to play hard. We want them to play physical. I told the guys in practice yesterday, I said, you know what, man, I don't like being around guys that don't play hard. I really don't. I like guys who play hard and play with an edge, right? I just had a son 2 days ago. If he decides to play basketball and he doesn't play hard, and don't play with an edge, I won't like him either.
Wow. He's a newborn. Already the pressure's on. Son, I can probably see that conversation now, as a newborn. Son, this child's looking up at him, loving eyes. Look, if you don't play hard, I'm not going to like you. I mean, that's a lot of pressure on a newborn right there. Coach mentioned Matt Van Komen, one of the guys there. Of course, Komen named to the preseason Sun Belt third team. And when Wyatt Fricks was asked about it, hey, who are some of the new guys that really stand out? One of the guys that he mentioned right away was Matt Van Komen. This is sort of one of my typical questions that I would ask. Who are you sick of going up against in practice? That's probably what the question would have been if I would have had a shot at it. But instead, he answered my question, but to a question like, hey, who are some of the guys that kind of stand out, some of the new guys?
He sticks out everywhere he goes, So he's definitely a pain to guard, and I'm gonna love being able to play with him every day against other people. Noah, he's a great point guard. He's learning the offense more and more, and every day he's getting better. Caleb, Wilson, they're phenomenal shooters, so that makes playing with them easier. So those are probably the new guys that really stick out to me.
So he's tired of Matt Van Komen. Dude sticks out. Sick of going up against that guy. Preseason third teamer. Basketball coming up tonight, Cam Henderson Center against Alice Lloyd. All right, Texture's got the solution for me. All right, here we go. Texture says, Paul, here's your dilemma solved. Because of your devout love of hockey, you are basically Canadian. Wait, whoa. I don't know if I like where this is going. Texture says, Paul, ask yourself one thing. What would Wayne Gretzky do? What would Wayne Gretzky do? He would root for your fellow countrymen in the Toronto Blue Jays with the emojis and the Canadian flag. No. Have you seen me in Olympic hockey? Did you see me around the Four Nations face-off? Did you see me? You did not. I was taking that stuff seriously. Absolutely. I got my Team USA. I bought a Four Nations Team USA cap. I got the black version of that just to be different, and that's the only one I could actually find actually purchase. But that's another story. No, I got the Team USA. I'm not Canadian. Absolutely not. No. I don't even drink clearly Canadian water anymore. You know why? Because I'm not Canadian. So I'm not allowed. Right? That's the rule. No. What would Wayne Gretzky do? Hey, look. Olympic hockey, I would check Wayne Gretzky into the boards. Don't know. Wayne knows this. I'm a big fan of Wayne's. I mean, childhood hero, idol of mine. USA versus Canada, I'm checking Gretzky into the boards. And he's not going to have any protection whatsoever. No. I'm not Canadian. More coming up. This edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Polka Valley Bank. Polka Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Polka Valley Bank locations today. Polka Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Polka Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Transform your outdoors all year long with Roberts Lawn Care and Landscaping. Family owned and operated, serving the tri-state area with expert landscaping services. From vibrant spring gardens to cozy fall patios and everything in between. Roberts specializes in sustainable landscaping that thrives through every season, residential or commercial. Roberts creates personalized solutions to bring your vision to life. Call Roberts today at 304-633-5822 because your dream yard deserves 4 seasons of care. This fall, let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy and Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky, they make it easy to get into a safe, reliable vehicle. Every used car goes through a 117-point inspection. Fall into a safe, reliable vehicle, and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland. Or shop 24/7 at markporterautogroup.com.
Hi, I'm Elise Smith, First Lady of Marshall University and founder of the Women Warrior Summit. As a woman of Appalachia, you know how much strength it takes to shift direction, especially when you're carving a new path forward. Maybe you've been thinking about changing careers, going back to school, or even refocusing your energy on something you once loved. I am so proud to announce that the Women Warrior Summit is back for its third year, where we'll be focusing on the power of pivoting and how to approach life's turning points with clarity, courage, and intention. We'll hear from journalist, author, and entertainer Hoda Kotb, explore Jenny Blake's coveted pivot method, and even talk about how AI can support our next steps, whatever they may be. Join us Friday, October 24th at the Marshall Health Network Arena. Visit womenwarriorsummit.com to learn more. I hope to see you there.
Looking for midweek fun? Head to Frank's Place, where every night's a party. Wednesdays are full of brains and brews with trivia night. Grab your crew and show off what you know. Thursdays, crank it up with Singo Bingo. Music meets bingo for prizes and laughs. Then Fridays, we hand you the mic for karaoke night. Sing your heart out and start your weekend right. The fun never stops at Frank's Place. Great drinks, great friends, and good times. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've been talking a little bit about Marshall basketball. They're heard in exhibition action tonight against Alice Lloyd, 7 o'clock at the Henderson Center. Also, we've got World Series final decided here. It's going to be the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. The dilemma here is, do you root against the Dodgers as a lifelong Reds fan, or do you root for the Dodgers because that's clearly the American thing to do? Your text, 304-396-TALK. And by the way, I just want to clarify once again, I am not Canadian. Absolutely not. Texter says, Paul, I like Coach Corney and what he's doing with the program. I think Marshall will be in the upper echelon of the conference. What's the media buzz about this season's Marshall basketball team? I think, honestly, it's wait and see, just because the transfer portal, you got guys coming in. It's similar to football, obviously, so you don't know what you got until you see it. But I think there is some buzz about Matt Van Komen. I feel like this team is going to be better from the start than it was last year. You've got Coach Jackson now with a year under his belt. You have Coach Jackson with a good core of guys. You'll also have some newcomers coming in that maybe will bring some excitement, bring a little elevation of talent. I mean, Coach said when we talked to him that this team might be, as much as he loved his first team, this team might be in many ways more athletic than his first team. And if that's the case, you got a big presence there with Komen. I mean, that's going to help as well. So I think the buzz is going to be this team is going to be a lot better. I mean, we all know what Jalen Spear can do. Spear's going to spear. So you add some pieces to that, and a guy like Wyatt Fricks has been there for 57 years. I mean, I can't remember a time Wyatt Fricks wasn't on the team. That's going back a way here. I mean, seriously. I think he was there when I enrolled in 1990. It was 1989, I think. I was camping out in Old Main to get my classes. You know, you get that line started, and you would camp out. You'd bring a sleeping bag or something so you could get in line, get that. Cause you had to camp out if you wanted to get that rare spot in that class. And Fricks was there then. Father Time has nothing on Wyatt Fricks. So I think we're going to see this team make a serious run. If not for the regular season title come tournament time, I think we'll see this team in the mix there. I mean, I felt like it was in the mix already last season. Just got to get a better placement in this crazy tournament bracket that sort of rewards your regular season, which I do like. I mean, that's the one thing I like about it. If you're hot and you make a run, you can pull something off almost like Julie Folks did with a deep run starting from the start of that bracket, from the beginning of that bracket, getting into day 5. Or if you've got a team that can maybe get into the upper part of the bracket, get, 3 games maybe? 4 at the most you got to win? Yeah, a normal tournament. So I do feel good about this team. We're going to see a little bit from them tonight. Again, it's exhibition action against Alice Lloyd. That's going to be at the Cam Henderson Center. Admission is free. That's 7 o'clock at the Cam Henderson Center. So looking forward to seeing some of you there. And we'll have reaction from Coach Jackson tomorrow on what he felt like game 1, exhibition game 1, was all about. And we'll also hear a little bit more from Coach Gibson tomorrow as well. We got a lot to get into as we've got plenty of time between now and Coastal Carolina coming up next week. And we will have that game right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm going to be over at Giovanni's. I get to go back to Giovanni's, so great chance for you to come on over Giovanni's. Get your pizza order in early. Pick it up. I'll be there waiting, say hi to you, and then head on home. You can watch and listen to the game depending on what you do. And hopefully the Herd can get it done. I've got a feeling, though, that a lot of you are going to be in the stands at Coastal Carolina. I'm getting that feeling now. There's been a lot of buzz going on about making this a home game, and some of the players talked about that. It's going to be huge for them because, after all, we all know that this is not really a road trip. This is just going to a different suburb of Huntington in West Virginia. Going to Coastal Carolina, going to the Myrtle Beach area, that's like, I mean, that's just like a work commute for a lot of us here because that's basically West Virginia South. I think I heard it described. Yeah, I think that, Steve Cotton said that today. He called it West Virginia South. So a lot of Herd fans, I think, are going to be on the road. But if you're not going, head on over to Giovanni's. Get your pizza. Get your order in early. We'll get your things. We'll get you kicked off. And then head back home. You can listen to the show on your way back, and you can listen to Steve Cotton call the action right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 and 93.7 The Dog. For those of you that are heading over to the Henderson Center, I will see you there soon. Don't forget, we'll have the podcast up later tonight. For those of you that caught part of the show today, you want to go back, so we'll get the podcast up sometime later tonight, and we'll do it maybe after the basketball game, if not tomorrow morning. So podcast coming up a little bit later than usual. For those of you that are missing part of the show today, you want to go back and catch it. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.